final question of today is, how do I do SEO in 2017? So Jenny asked us this, and what should I be focused on? I really want to try and split this answer into a couple of sections because it's a huge question. So firstly, what works for SEO right now? So in April 2017, what works? Well, I'll tell you this, there's a lot of hype in SEO. You'll see massive headlines like Google Glass is going to change SEO forever and stop doing what you're doing and focus on semantic search. So there's been these huge headlines in SEO, and what a lot of people end up doing is getting carried away with what could affect SEO rather than what is affecting SEO today. So what you should do is invest some time looking at correlation studies and data around what websites have in common that are ranking highly. The best place for me to do this is with, again, Moz, who's the industry leader in SEO software. They have a correlation study every 2 years, and they also have some opinionated study now, which is well worth reading. But what you'll normally find is there's a huge difference between what people tell me every day they're working on for SEO and what actually works today. And what actually works today is still the basics. And for 99% of people watching this, I can guarantee they won't have the basics done and they won't be doing the basics to a high standard. So some areas where there's discrepancy here is people focus a lot on domain authority. So domain authority is the strength of your website in the eyes of a search engine as an overall website or an overall domain. People focus a lot on this metric to try and get their rankings up. There's actually another metric called page authority, which is the authority of the individual page, and that's much more important and much more highly correlated with rankings than domain authority is. So when you're out there earning links, try and earn them deeper, earn them to pages that you want to rank for, and also spend a lot of time and focus on your internal hierarchy or your navigation to try and make sure that page flow is correct and that the pages you're trying to rank for have actually got some of that homepage authority trickling down to it. The second is that good solid keyword research and on-page optimization is still key. Look at how highly correlated title tags are, the amount of times your words are used on the page, and that's not old school keyword density, but actually mentioning the keyword on your page or variants of it still correlate very highly with rankings, and ensuring the page content itself is unique and well written. They're the basics of on-page SEO, but just correlate so highly with good rankings. So if you ask yourself what you should be doing, look at that and make sure you got that right before you move on to the next thing. This type of data can be misleading though. So take, for example, if you look at correlation data, it'll actually say the number of links is more important than the quantity and relevancy of links. While that could strictly be true, the number of links could be more important because at its core, Google is still a link-based algorithm and people underestimate that massively. You've still got to have quality and relevant links for not just to get your rankings up, to make sure you don't get negatively impacted by SEO, so any penalties. So what Google's wanting to see in terms of link signals is that good websites are linking to you, and that can be rated by this quality factor. So that's, does the site look, feel spammy? Does it have shady practices? Is the domain authority low? And is it actually relevant to your niche? Because if somebody from a completely different industry, no kind of natural seeming link to your company, what you do, what your services are, is linking to you, that could look a little bit weird in Google's eyes, and if that's happening on a very, very regular basis, it could look like link manipulation. So just take that data with a pinch of salt, try and understand the context of what you're looking at, but it's certainly worth looking into. Then to try and answer the other part of this question, so you might be sat there thinking, right, I've done all of this, I've done the basics, I've absolutely nailed it. What should I be focusing on today that I wouldn't have been focusing on, say, 2, 3, 4 years ago? And there's a couple of issues here to talk about. So the first one is mobile friendliness, and while this isn't certainly not a new issue, it's still something that a lot of people haven't done yet. So mobile friendliness basically refers to how good is your experience for mobile users, and Google's come up with this term mobile friendliness, as a way of articulating that. So you can go on Google's mobile website friendliness test, put your URL in, it'll give you a score, it tells you if you pass or fail. If you pass, you will get the mobile friendly icon in mobile search results, giving you a better chance to appear in the rankings when you're on mobile. But also, it's not just for SEO's sake. Being mobile friendly and have a good mobile experience it's good for you in a lot of ways. It's gonna drive more leads when people do actually get to your site. It's gonna make people hang around, read your content, understand your business a lot more. So it's also good for a user experience viewpoint. And leading on from that, the other factor is site speed. So again, you'll find with a lot of issues that we talk about now with SEO, there's actually a really blurred line between SEO and user experience. And that's because a lot of the signals that Google are looking for is this a quality site? Do people hang around when they get there? And more importantly, does the user get their query answered by this website? If not, probably shouldn't be ranking. And if they do, it should be ranking higher. So site speed ties into that by making your site, again, really usable for people. If you're on mobile devices, you haven't got Wi-Fi, fiber, whatever it is, and you're looking at a website and it's taking a long time to load, Google's not going to like that. And even I've sat on broadband or on fiber on my desktop and I've got a slow load speed. So you need to sort those issues out. I'd put 2 seconds as your benchmark to aim for. So if you can push yourself, push your developers, push your hosting company, try and get your site under 2 seconds, it's going to give you better SEO results. And it's going to make a better user experience for your visitors. The next one is HTTPS or secured websites. So while this isn't a huge factor today in search engines, I think it will be. But it's also, again, good for user experience. People coming to your website will feel they're in a secure place, they're in a place they can trust, which is important. And basically, this can be done by getting an SSL certificate for your website. And anyone who's sold products online will have had an SSL certificate in the past for their checkout process. This time, Google wants you to take that a step further and apply it to every page on your website, which can be quite easily done. There's a couple of SEO headaches to get around, but I'd suggest if you've done all of those other things, your site's super fast, it's mobile friendly, you've nailed all of the SEO basics, have a look at getting your site secured, because I think all the signals are there. Just like for mobile friendliness and site speed, these are going to be it's going to be a big ranking factor in the future. The last thing I want to talk about is voice search. Now, let's get this out of the way. I don't think we're in the era of voice search right now. I can't see people walking down the street, chatting to Google, asking it questions. I know Google Home's come out and Amazon Alexa, we have one here in the office. Nobody's asking it questions. No one's using it like a search engine yet. So we're not in that era. But that's not to say you shouldn't start getting prepared for it. We might be a couple of years out doing that, or certainly if you target an audience which is of a younger age and will be more comfortable doing voice search, this could be an even more critical issue to you. So it's worth getting familiar with how people are going to search with voice. All of the research I've read indicates they are going to talk to it in a very conversational way. They're going to say it as they would to a normal person, which is very different from how someone types into Google. So I think to prepare for this, you can start producing a lot of content around questions. So in our industry, this will be things like, what is inbound marketing? Why is inbound marketing better than outbound marketing? Should I do inbound marketing or should I do PR? What are the considerations when hiring an inbound marketing agency? If you can have a think about what all questions your prospects ask through the buyer's journey, you're not only creating incredible inbound marketing content, putting more content out there that people are searching for, so you're going to rank and gain traffic today from general searchers typing, but you're also going to set yourself up for the future of voice search, which is something well worth focusing on, again, if you've done everything else. So in a nutshell, to tie this all together, what should you be doing today for great SEO success in April 2017? For me, get the basics right is still important, and most people aren't doing this. Focus on your on-page efforts, make sure you get that right. Make sure you have a good link earning strategy, and do not underestimate the power of links in search engines today. Then look at user experience issues, and this is a very big, wide area. It'll take you a long time to get right. It's not a checkbox, but look at your experience on mobile, look how secure your site is, and look how quick your site is, and think, if a user lands here, are they going to be happy? If you do that, Google's probably going to be happy, and you're going to rank well. And that's a wrap. I'll speak to you next week on another Inbound Answered.